presentation had to cover?
My memory was jogged, Commissioners, when I looked through the actual inquiry file.
Yes.
I can't recall, since it was a long while back, but I did make a diary entry that the provincial head had requested a presentation on the said seizure, a PowerPoint presentation. And I noted that even on a weekend, I made an entry in my diary that I was working on this PowerPoint presentation. And in my investigation diary pertaining to the said investigation, I don't cite a specific date, but it's between, I would say, July and August 2021 that I had prepared and sent this presentation to General Senona.
Okay. Now, you haven't availed that actual PowerPoint presentation. Do you still have it, able to make it available to us?
I can check, Commissioners, offhand. I can't say that I have knowledge of where it may be, but I can search or try and find it somewhere.
Would appreciate that. Thank you. You may then move on to your paragraph 41.
Since investigations were amounting to nothing, my only option was to expedite the analysis of the samples forwarded to the FSL. It is only when an analysis report is furnished can the inquiry be finalized and filed as undetected or negative. In some cases, drugs are destroyed or disposed of without an analysis report. During the next few months, I kept in touch with the FSL in Manzimtoti and made calls to the FSL Pretoria in respect of these exhibits. I also made inquiries into the exhibits booked out of Isipingo on the 6th of February 2020. Both laboratories were unable to accommodate these exhibits for either analysis or disposal. Most of our communication with the FSL is telephonic. Sometime in October...
Apologies, Colonel. In the body of your statement, you do indicate who at FSL Amazimtoti you engaged with.
Yes.
And the commissioners had testimony of 3 of these persons yesterday.
Yes.
At your 42, you said you also made calls to FSL Pretoria in respect of these exhibits, but nowhere in your statement do you indicate who you spoke to.
Yes.
Are you able to inform us who those were?
Yes, Commissioner. It would have been a Colonel Shole from FSL Pretoria.
And what position does he hold and why?
Not sure of his exact title, but in essence, whenever we have liaisons with the Pretoria FSL, he's our go-to man. He's always assisting and the one trying to accommodate us. So it's Colonel Shole. I'm not sure of his exact designation there.
Is that just the one? Just Colonel Shole?
Yes, it's only Colonel Shole. Yes.
And just in very brief summary, what was the content of your conversation about these exhibits? Why were you calling him?
Yes. You know, I can't recall every, Commissioners, I can't recall every conversation verbatim. But what I can say is that when I did engage with him, I inquired about these exhibits kept in Port Shepstone, as well as the exhibits that were initially kept at Isipingo and now stored at Durban Central, because both of them were, more especially the ones at Durban Central, were causing me a lot of botheration. I've been getting calls, inundated with calls about them, hence my calls to FSL Pretoria. Okay,
now we know that you indicate that as at the 22nd of June, the day of the seizure, FSL Amazimtoti did not have capacity to accommodate them, right?
That is correct.
So you say during the next few months you kept in touch with FSL Pretoria. Do you recall when it is you started your engagement with FSL Pretoria? Working from the date of the 22nd of June, when you knew that Amazimtoti cannot accommodate?
Yes, I can't recall, Commissioners, but what I can say, it would have been at least maybe a month or 3 weeks to a month from the date of seizure.
And if I may ask, why did you wait that long?
Because I was already aware we were trying for those exhibits that were laying at Durban Central for already a long time, those that were seized in Isipingo on the 5th of February 2020. So I was aware that even Warrant Officer Sanders was making inquiries in that regard with Colonel Shole at Pretoria. So hence it took me a longer while, because in my mind I knew obviously they would try to accommodate those exhibits laying at Durban Central first before they could accommodate these that were now seized in June 2021.
Okay, thank you. Please proceed then from your paragraph 43.
Sometime in October 2021, I was contacted by Brigadier Newswa informing me that there was an attempted break-in at the Port Shepstone office and that I should look into expediting investigations and the analysis of exhibits so that exhibits could be disposed of. I had already been trying to get these and other exhibits accommodated at both labs unsuccessfully. I was only able to escalate my challenges to individuals within the FSL that were up to the rank of colonel. On 27th October 2021, I was at the FSL and spoke to Warrant Officer Sachedi. He is an analyst that normally attends our scenes and has the FSL standby cellular phone. I asked him about expediting the samples we had sent for analysis so that we could receive our analysis report. This would, in essence, mean that at least they could be destroyed since the formality of the analysis report would have been addressed. He explained that they required 7 to 10 bricks of cocaine to weigh so that the analysis report could reference the average weight for the total exhibits. If Colonel Kuzwayo had explained this to me when I had asked her about sending through samples, I would have asked the members to do it then, and in brackets I've got either the 22nd or the 23rd of June. I'm unsure when that call was made.
Is this now, Colonel, the difference between the qualitative analysis and the quantitative analysis?
That is correct.
So the quantitative would relate to the average weight of the exhibits.
And qualitative?
And the qualitative would be
actual analysis.
The quality of the substance and the grade.
That is correct, Commissioner.
Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. You may proceed.
On the 4th of November 2021, I called Advocate Ram Kalawan inquiring about the status of the matter. She indicated that her supervisor, Advocate Govender, was to sign off on further investigations/queries and get back to me. I undertook this exercise to expedite investigations and dispose of exhibits as soon as possible.
And before you move on to paragraph 47, you say you called Advocate Ram Kalawan to inquire about the status of this matter.
Yes.
What matter is it at this stage?
The investigation, the inquiry that we were looking at, the actual seizure of this cocaine.
And who was responsible for that inquiry at this stage? At this stage, who was responsible for the inquiry?
I was the investigating officer. Advocate Ram Kalawan was a prosecutor assigned to the DPP's office.
And I'm trying to understand from your statement, you are inquiring from the prosecutor about the status of this matter.
Yes.
Is it the prosecution?
When I say status, Commissioners, I'm speaking of when you send any investigation, be it a docket or an inquiry to the DPP's office, they normally send you back queries, taskings, further statements to take. They basically guide your investigation in terms of if it were to be prepared for court for a prosecution. So that's what I mean by that.
So I shouldn't understand you to mean when you say you inquired from the advocate, the prosecutor,
yes, about
the status of this matter, that you're inquiring about the status of the investigation of this.
Yes, yes.
I shouldn't understand that. But that you were seeking guidance to assist to proceed the matter or to move the matter forward.
Basically, I was looking to see what else do you want me to do. I have,
okay.
Yes, basically that's it in a nutshell, Commissioner.
Thank you. You may then move to.
Can I just maybe just to clarify, my understanding from the evidence of a previous witness is that there would have been an inquiry in a case like this because you don't have a suspect. The impression I got from that evidence was that is a wholly SAPS function. In this case, your function. So where does Advocate Ramakalan or DPP, whatever official at the DPP, where do they come in if this is a SAPS inquiry? Okay.
There is a directive issued at our office that every cocaine seizure needs to go to the DPP's office for guidance. It's now our standard operating procedure.
Was it applicable at the time?
Yes, it was.
Of this operation?
Yes, it was.
Okay.
And then if I may just follow up on that, Would you have the name of that SOP off the top of your head? And are you
No.
able to provide, if I may finish, are you able to provide the commission with a copy thereof?
Okay, sorry, maybe I used the wrong. When I say SOP, it was an informal SOP. It's a directive issued from provincial management, and if I'm not mistaken, every unit within KZN Hawks unit would comply with that directive. So I can't tell you that I've seen it in writing, but it's an instruction coming from our provincial office. Okay, Mayor.
Apologies.
Okay, and also from, like I'll give you an example, Commissioners, the latest we had 32 kilos or 33 kilos that were seized at our harbour. And once again, my unit was investigating the matter. I think on day 2 of this, we got a call from the DPP's office to ask, where is this inquiry? We need copies, we need to give guidance. So it was understood by both parties, not just the DPCI, the DPP's office were also informed that any of these matters that are generated needs to come to them for guidance.
And would I be wrong to assume that this directive is in writing? It's not in writing.
I'm unsure. I received an instruction from Brigadier Newswa regarding the same.
Thank you. You may proceed.
Okay, which paragraph was it?
You had just done 46.
Sorry, can I
Yes.
just carry on just to try and clarify again? So what do you refer to the DPP? And because my understanding, and you know better than I do how things work, my understanding is the docket, ordinarily, a docket is what the DPP would make notes in with instructions what to do. So in a case such as this, where it's an inquiry, what do you submit in this particular case to the DPP, where the DPP gives you instructions?
Okay, it's either you can submit the physical inquiry. The physical inquiry, Commissioners, it works on the same principle as a docket. It's only that this inquiry is not yet at a stage where you can charge a suspect. An inquiry is just for purposes of you using resources, sending exhibits to the lab, but in essence, has the same, you compile it in a similar fashion as you would a docket. There's an A clip with your evidence, your statements, anything of evidential value. There's your B clip where all of your correspondence is filed. And there's a C clip, which is your investigation diary, where everything you do on that investigation, you note down in this investigation diary, which is contemporaneous notes. So copies of that, or either the original inquiry, would be handed to them. They would peruse it. Normally, prosecutors make entries in the investigation diary of their taskings to you. The DPP's office, for whatever reason, our DPP's office did not do that regularly. However, they used to, in some occasions, send us an action log or some sort of communication as to what is the way forward in terms of this investigation.
Okay, so if there is an investigation file or an inquiry file,
Yes.
for this operation, we would expect to see notes that indicate this exchange or interaction with the DPP and the instructions that you say the DPP gave.
That's correct, Commissioner.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner. You may proceed, Colonel.
Okay. By 47. On the same day, I called the acting unit commander at Port Shepstone, Lieutenant Colonel Prinsloo, and indicated that I wish to come through with Warrant Officer Setshedi of the FSL, who would take 7 to 10 bricks to the FSL for weighing. He indicated that he was going on a wildlife workshop from the 8th to the 12th of November 2021. I told him I would come through when he returned. I received no feedback from Pretoria FSL and was aware that Warrant Officer Sando of my office was also making inquiries to the FSL with regards to the exhibits seized at CHC Depot on the 5th of February 2020. On 8 November 2021, I was called by Brigadier Newswa, who informed me of the theft of drugs incident at Port Shepstone. I was unaware of any of the security issues at the building prior to this. I proceeded with Captain Majola to the scene. General Senona and Brigadier Newswa arrived a short while later. LCRC was in attendance, and Captain Majola and I canvassed the area for CCTV footage. I must add that I bore no knowledge, neither am I involved in the theft of drugs. I was questioned and polygraphed with regards to this incident. I passed the polygraph test, but I understand now it doesn't carry much weight, Commissioners, but in response to the allegation...
I'm sorry, it may be of interest to you to know that there were all sorts of problems with the polygraph test.
I've been following.
Some people who supposedly failed the test, in fact, didn't, basically because a lot of things went wrong.
Right.
So what would your comment be if I say passing the test may not necessarily be proof that you actually passed it? What would your comment be?
I'm aware, Chair, that this is not admissible in court, but generally it's an...
That's not my question.
Okay, yes,
My question is about you stating the fact that you passed the test. So I want you to comment regard being head to the fact that yesterday we got to know that a lot went wrong with the polygraph test.
Okay. Be that as it may, when I did pass, I felt vindicated. I felt a good sense of relief,
Yes.
So I took
No,
that.
how we can't take that away from you. That is how you felt when you got the result. We can't take that. But what we make of that is something else altogether.
Yes.
Yes.
All right.
Thank you, Chair.
Okay.
Please proceed.
Paragraph 50. In response to the allegation that Warrant Officer Perumal did not object to storing the exhibits seized on 22nd June 2021, I wish to add that I have submitted further statements to General Flynn's team over the years. I had expressly stated that we had an issue with storage at Isipingo SAP, more especially Warrant Officer Perumal. A statement was obtained by General Flynn's team from Warrant Officer Perumal in respect of availability of storage space and exhibit bags, in brackets I've got, on 22nd June 2021. I'm speaking of that incident. A statement was obtained by General Flynn's team from Warrant Officer Perumal in respect of availability of storage space and exhibit bags subsequent to the theft of drugs on 8 November 2021. At no stage was he canvassed regarding the previous problems I had cited with the Isipingo SAP. One would have expected this issue to have been canvassed with him. The previous seizure at the CHC depot on 5th February 2020 involved approximately, I've got it wrong, it's 547, but I put 570, my apologies, right? Involved approximately 570 kilograms of Mandrax tablets and powder. I cite the inquiry number. According to evidence tendered, Isipingo has never had a problem with storing exhibits before. So I allude
Do you consider that? I hope it won't sound like I'm probing at this stage.
Clarification, I'll take it.
Do you consider that to be a useful comparator if you are talking about Mandrax as opposed to cocaine?
I know where you're headed, Chair, and I understand that, yes, in terms of...
At this stage, I will not go to where I'm headed.
But I do appreciate it, but I'm referring to storage space at this stage, storage space for a physical bulk of exhibits, not the hazardous nature.
Thank you. We'll deal with where I'm going later.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. Please continue.
Okay. Was I at paragraph 52?
Yes, you were, and you had just, about third line, you had just stated Isipingo had never had a problem with storing
Isipingo had never had a problem with storing exhibits. See attached affidavit of the IO of Durban Central CAS, I cite the CAS, annexure GYJ1, and it's my colleague, Warrant Officer Sanders' affidavit. And I state, this may have been the reason for my confusion regarding my interaction with Warrant Officer Perumal on the 22nd of June, 2021.
And based on the chair's reminder, I'm quite mindful that I don't start interrogation, I needed clarification, however. You state, according to the evidence tendered, Isipingo has never had a problem with storing exhibits. That's your main point there, right?
That's correct.
At the conclusion of that paragraph, you state, this may have been the reason for my confusion regarding my interaction. Is there something missing there? I don't understand the interrelation between the 2 points.
I see where the confusion comes from, Commissioners. On the 22nd of June 2021,
yes,
when I was later interviewed, or even when I made my statement, all I knew in my mind, and bear with me, I know it may sound, as though I'm maybe lying, that's why I'm confused, but this is it. On the 22nd of June 2021, when engaging with Warrant Officer Perumal, all I know that I can state 100% for that day with certainty was that he was not accepting those exhibits, neither did he have exhibit bags. And I see in my statements, numerous statements that I had furnished the investigation team, General Flynn's team. I'm not quite clear on that, and then I say that, I didn't explicitly ask him, but I know they've had a problem. Then I go on a further statement elaborating on even while we were processing or counting these drugs and busy in the parking area at Isipingo, Warrant Officer Perumal even remarked of, hey, the last time what happened with our guys here, we got sick. So all of that was in my mind, and I knew for a fact that Isipingo would not keep these exhibits, whether it was explicitly told to me or whether I had drawn that inference from my previous experience with the station, I can't say, but what I can say for certain is that my colleagues on the scene have since sternly reprimanded me by saying, Colonel, Warrant Officer Perumal did not want to keep those exhibits. So why I wrote that I did not explicitly ask him for permission to store it, I'm unsure why, but this may be the reason, and that's my truth. Okay.
Please, Chair.
Sitting here, I'm confused as to what you did say or did not say. As you sit there now,
yes,
did you or did you not engage Officer Perumal on the availability of storage?
Yes.
Did you or did you not?
Yes. I can't recall offhand that I did ask him. And like I'm saying, that's my only answer, is that I knew they were not storing it. My colleagues reminded me that I was wrong. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. And then, just in fairness to you, what do you say was the confusion? What do you say is the confusion? Because you say the reason for my confusion, so just for you to be clear on that?
Yes, I'm saying that I think I mixed up our previous incident in February 2020, on the 5th, between the 5th and 6th of February 2020, and that whole debacle there. Because although my colleague, Warrant Officer Sander, I don't think he mentioned it in his evidence, I am the one that secured Durban Central SAP with regards to storing those exhibits that Isipingo had turned away. So, that could be a reason for my confusion. I can't elaborate further, but that's it.
Okay. We might get back to this because I don't quite understand. If you say Isipingo has never had a problem with storing exhibits.
No, I'm not saying that, Commissioner.
That's what you say according to the evidence tendered. Do you
according to the evidence tendered by General Flynn, my apologies, Commissioner.
So you do not agree with the evidence tendered?
I do not. I strongly disagree.
Now I understand what you mean. Thank you.
Thank you.
There's a difference, though, between the availability of storage space and an unwillingness to store. There's a difference between the two. On your understanding, even though you are not sure whether you specifically asked Officer Perumal anything, but on your understanding, because you do say that you had some understanding, so on your understanding, what was the position?
Okay.
Was it an unwillingness to store, or was it a question of the unavailability of storage space.
Okay. Chair, this is my opinion. They have a storage place that could have accommodated over half a ton.
Okay.
But if I can just elaborate a little more, if you allow me, Chair.
Yes.
Even if you look at Warrant Officer Sanders' affidavit that I attached as an annexure, he states that Warrant Officer Perumal had made a comment that they do not have members to guard these drugs. So to me, it's not only a problem of storage space, it's also logistical in terms of manpower and the risk associated with those drugs. Thank you, Chair.
So you're basically saying the storage space was available?
I would have thought so. I'm not sure at that point in time what the exhibit safe looked like, but I would think in a normal course of duty they would have had that space.
Thank you.
And if I then, just to close off this point in response to the chair's question, you reference what Warrant Officer Sanders said
Yes.
about concerns, is it Warrant Officer Perumal had, which is that not having manpower to guard.
Yes.
That was in 2020.
Yes, correct.
What was the issue in regard to this particular seizure by Warrant Officer Perumal? What did he express to you? We are now into it, June 2021. You say
yes.
you understand there was space.
Yes.
So from your recollection, what was the reason for the rejection?
I can't give you a specific reason, Commissioner.
So it's not the fact that he doesn't have manpower to guard it?
No, he didn't cite it on this occasion.
Okay, thank you. Then I think that will take us to paragraph 50.
Do that. And it's not a factor, the lack of manpower, it's not a factor that you would have taken into account.
No, I did not at that stage.
Thank you.
Commissioner.
Thank you, Commissioner Balu. You may proceed.
Okay, paragraph 54. Okay, 53. Am I at 53?
Yes, we are now at 53.
Okay, thank you. These exhibits had to be stored, and I'm speaking about the Isipingo 2020 February Mandrax exhibits. These exhibits had to be stored at Durban Central, SAP, from the 6th of February 2020 until the 12th of November 2021, when they were taken to the FSL Pretoria for destruction. If there was indeed no problems with storing exhibits at Isipingo, SAP, then the IO would have taken them back to Isipingo upon being turned away from the FSL in Manzimtoti on the 6th of February 2020. See copy of Isipingo SAP 13 as per Annexure GYJ2. So that's there. To further substantiate my claims, I attach a copy of Isipingo SAP Occurrence Book 386 to 387. And I won't read the rest out. As per Annexure GYJ3, see headings, consultation and injury on duty, respectively. Entry 387 is made by the very same Warrant Officer Perumal, and it pertains to a member getting sick due to the drugs stored there. Surely this speaks to the credibility of Warrant Officer Perumal.
And before you move off this, am I reading your statement correctly that the drugs you reference at 53 are the Mandrax tablets, the 547 kilogram of Mandrax tablets?
That is correct, Commissioner.
Okay, thank you.
The evidence lead states that I should have inquired with Durban Central SAP, and when I say the evidence lead, I mean by General Flynn. The evidence lead states that I should have inquired with Durban Central SAP and Brighton Beach SAP, Maiden Wharf, and some other station to store the 22nd June 2021 exhibits. At that stage, Durban Central still had the exhibits booked out of Isipingo SAP on the 6th February 2020. See copy of itinerary to travel from Durban to Pretoria for disposal of said exhibits as per GYJ4.
Before you move to the next paragraph, just to understand your 54, you say Durban Central still had the exhibits booked out of Isipingo in February 2020.
That's correct, Commissioner.
What does that mean? Does it mean, therefore, Durban Central did not have capacity? Is that your conclusion?
That is my conclusion.
And you know that for a fact? Or you knew it for a fact at the time?
I knew that the drugs were stored there. I knew that they were...
No, I'm talking about capacity. I just want to be clear what you're
I wasn't
talking.
sure of their total capacity.
Okay, thank you. You may proceed.
Brighton Beach SAP still has exhibits from a September 2020 drug seizure in the Umhlali area. They allowed us to store exhibits via Durban Central Organized Crime. I won't mention the entire numbers. Being a smaller station, Umhlali SAP stored some of the exhibits in this matter. We tried all other stations to assist and were ultimately assisted by a rural station, Glendale SAP, where we stored less valuable exhibits. Brighton Beach SAP was the only other station to assist storing some of these exhibits after we had exhausted police stations closer to the Umhlali area. Brighton Beach SAP is 70 kilometers away from Umhlali SAP. To date, these exhibits are stored at Brighton Beach SAP in an unused cell. There is a prospect of an arrest, hence these exhibits have not been destroyed. See attached annexure, GYJ5, photos of exhibits at Brighton Beach SAP. I recall that Sechedi was the same analyst that had acquired samples of this precursor chemical stored at Brighton Beach. He had conducted this exercise with an IO from my office.
And before you move on, similarly with Brighton Beach,
Yes.
are you suggesting at paragraphs 55 and 56 that the conclusion you drew at the time is, therefore, Brighton Beach SAP does not have capacity?
That's my conclusion.
At the time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
If I may just ask a follow-up, do you know what their capacity was at the time?
No, I don't.
Okay, thank you.
These above-mentioned police stations would continuously call inquiring about removing these exhibits. I did not exhaust every police station in the vicinity, as I knew how difficult it is to get assistance in this regard. I certainly knew that I could not request Brighton Beach SAP or Durban Central SAP for further assistance. I knew the difficulty in securing a police station to store exhibits, especially in light of the challenges at the FSL. It was suggested that taking samples is unheard of. I did call the head of chemistry, Colonel Kuzwayo, and inquire in this regard. I have since spoken to Lieutenant Colonel Songa and Warrant Officer Sechedi of the FSL. It became apparent that the investigation team had obtained statements in respect of my interactions with them. Warrant Officer Sechedi admitted to being intimidated by those members that acquired his statement. He indicated that he was first accused of stealing the drugs before the interview began. In no uncertain terms, he made it known that his statement was made under duress. I inquired from him regarding our discussion on the 27th October 2021, when he agreed to assist with the obtaining of 7 to 10 bricks of cocaine for weighing purposes. He was reluctant to even confirm this conversation with me. During this meeting, he fetched his statement that he had furnished to General Flynn's team in order to refresh his memory. When reading it out, I noticed that he had stated that on 27th October 2021, that I had told him that people were planning to break into Port Shepstone office to steal the drugs, when in fact I had told him that Brigadier Newswa had informed me that there was an attempted break-in at the Port Shepstone office. The intimidation of witnesses shows clear biasness from the investigation team investigating the theft of drugs. I believe that in the absence of any evidence pertaining to the actual theft of drugs, a false narrative of what transpired was created. The investigation seems to have been directed towards this false narrative. The exhibit seized at the CHC depot in February 2020 lay in storage at Durban Central SAP for over a year without the IO being accused of never intending to submit it to the FSL.
Before you move to paragraph 61, you may probably have omitted certain issues. At paragraph 58, you see at page 11, you state that it was suggested that taking samples is unheard of.
Yes.
The taking of samples.
Yes.
I did call the head of chemistry, Colonel Kuzwayo, and inquire in this regard.
Yes.
Thereafter, you then, at paragraphs 59 and 60, you speak about the events of the 27th of October 2021 regarding the 7 to 10 bricks that were required.
Yes.
But you no longer address yourself to the issue of samples. Did
Yes.
you discuss the matter of samples with Colonel Kuzwayo? You said you inquired from her in this regard?
Yes.
And if so, maybe this is an opportunity to state what advice you were given at the time by Colonel Kuzwayo.
Yes. Thank you, Commissioners. It would have been, from my recollection, on the morning, most probably, of the 23rd of June, whilst I was still on leave, right? I know I called Colonel Kuzwayo to ask advice, seeing as how I knew that the lab was not accepting this. I just tried to get the ball rolling with regards to an analysis report. I did call her. She advised me how to take samples. And from my recollection, it was a long time ago, but the way I recall it, I called Warrant Officer Mpangase directly afterward and advised him on exactly what Colonel Kuzwayo had said. And on my instruction, that's how he went about to obtain those samples in the manner in which Colonel Kuzwayo had guided me to do so. So
Yes.
maybe if I elaborate, or will there be time later? I just want to add a little bit regarding that.
With the chair's leave, I guess you may, lest we forget
Okay.
to come back to the point, yes.
Okay, thank you, Chair. I did try to obtain my cell phone records from 2021 for the period of interest for the Commission. I have it on official record. Vodacom does not have these records since they're older than 3 years. But I would like to say that the onus should not be on me. I am stating it from the very beginning. I have stated that I had called Colonel Kuzwayo. And even if you look at the duration of the call, it would give you an indication as to the nature of our conversation. So I was hoping that General Flynn's team would have provided my itemized billing. It would have been either on the 22nd of June or on the morning of the 23rd of June that I would have called Colonel Kuzwayo and shortly thereafter called Warrant Officer Mpangase, guiding him as per the guidance of Colonel Kuzwayo. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.
Ms. Sillo, I assume we should be able to lay our hands on this or not?
We will have to make a request and call for the records.
Thank you.
Sure, thank you. So then to conclude my clarification on this, when you say at 58, I did call the head of chemistry to inquire about in this regard, you're talking about the events of the 23rd of June? Or thereabouts, just immediately after the seizure? Okay.
Yes.
And that doesn't have anything in particular to do with the subsequent events of the 27th, which you deal with at paragraph 59 and 60? I should confuse the two. Okay. I'm happy, thank you.
Okay. On the 27th, it was just a follow-up. It was a follow-up because in my mind, Colonel Kuzwayo had guided me on how to take samples, which I guided Warrant Officer Mpangase to do. I submitted those samples because when I came back from work, I had seen that Mpangase had not submitted them. Hence, I submitted them on the 5th of July. And my conversation on the 27th of October with Warrant Officer Setshedi was with regards to either finalizing analysis report, either disposing, but getting rid of those drugs in Port Shepstone. It's then that he made me aware. I would not know this scientific procedure. I worked at ballistics, not at chemistry. I would not know this procedure, but Warrant Officer Setshedi is the one who guided me on how this could be done. And maybe at a later stage, we'll look at my contemporaneous notes in my investigation diary that were written at that point in time. So I maintain that my conversation on the 27th with Warrant Officer Setshedi, he did advise me on what we needed further in order to get a quantitative analysis, because we had only submitted samples that would look at the qualitative aspect of it. Thank you.
Do I understand you to say that, as a matter of fact, you did make diary entries on the docket?
In the inquiry file.
About your conversation with Warrant Officer Sitsedi?
Yes.
Are you saying so?
Contemporaneous.
Contemporaneous, yeah,
That's
which is
correct.
contemporaneous.
Yes. And Chair, may I just add
Yes.
something? The evidence leader was not aware of this. When engaging with the evidence leader prior to coming here, when I mentioned all that I had done on this investigation, I see the evidence leader was taken by surprise. And to me, I don't think it's fair that General Flynn's team had supplied half an inquiry to the evidence leader. Obviously, one would be interested in my investigation diary as to exactly what steps did I take, what did I do. Those are contemporaneous. So I just thought
And was there a similar entry with regard to your communication with Colonel Kuzwayo?
No, there was not, Chair, and may I clarify maybe why?
Yes,
okay.
please.
Because at that stage, remember, I left Isipingo SAP and went home to resume my leave. At that stage, Warrant Officer Pangase was physically in possession of that inquiry. I neglected to do so even when I came back.
But did you not make the note about your communication with Warrant Officer Sitsedi after you had come back?
With Sechedi on the 27th, yes, I had done it.
So that's after you had come back?
Yes, that was...
From leave, that is.
Correct.
Yes. Yes. So I'm not sure that your explanation fully gives us the picture. Why would you not have done something similar about or concerning Colonel Kuzwayo? You are
Yes.
back at work and you are making all these inquiries at a time when you are back at work, so why not a similar entry? I hope
Yes.
I'm not sounding like I'm probing at this stage.
I accept it.
At this stage, I just want clarity.
This investigation diary works chronologically.
Yes,
Meaning
yes.
it goes day by day, you write the time, the date. So I had done it, I would think, on the 23rd of June. When I got back on the 29th of June, Warrant Officer Pangase had already diarized and written what he had done. So, yes, it's partially neglect on my part, but
Do I misunderstand the facts? I thought you communicated with Warrant Officer Sitsedi after you had spoken to Colonel Kuzwayo to inquire about what needed to be done, or not?
No, I just inquired from Colonel Kuzwayo during that period, Chair.
Which happened first?
The Colonel Kuzwayo, the samples, the guidance on how to obtain samples came from Colonel Kuzwayo.
And then you spoke to Warrant Officer Sitsedi afterwards?
Afterward, yes, that's correct. Much afterward, on the 27th of October.
I still don't understand then why you would not have made an entry that related to Colonel Kuzwayo.
Okay, like I said, Chair, if I was in possession of that inquiry and still at the office, I went on leave, if I was still at the office and I called Colonel Kuzwayo, I would have had that inquiry in front of me. I would have diarized date, time, the nature of my conversation with her as well.
One last question. Were you not back from leave when you contacted Colonel Kuzwayo?
No, I contacted her during the 23rd, on the 23rd of June. If my memory serves me correct, I was back at work on the 29th of June.
All right.
Thank you, Chair. And
Before we break for tea, I just wanted to clarify 58, because that's where you were the first sentence, because this has caused a lot of confusion even with Warrant Officer Sitsedi yesterday. Yeah, okay. I think we will... Chair will indicate.
Let's adjourn and resume at 25 past 11.
Thank you.
4 minutes past 11. We're about to resume. Please make sure your devices are quiet. Thank you.
My colleague Commissioner Kumalo had a question.
Indeed, Chair. Thank you.
Yes.
Colonel, good morning again. We were in paragraph 58 of your statement, the first sentence. You say it was suggested that taking samples is unheard of. And it's not clear who you're referring to because in various other sections of your statement, Advocate Sillo asked you to clarify and you mentioned that you were referring to General Flynn's evidence.
Yes.
So here, who are you referring to when you say it was suggested that taking samples is unheard of?
Yes, a point of correction, it is General Flynn's testimony.
It is General Flynn, yes, because I did not want you to confuse what General Flynn said with what Warrant Officer Setsedi said.
Yes.
Because Warrant Officer Setsedi was engaged by Chair yesterday, and in 6.3 of his statement, he refers now to the 27 October discussion he had with you, and he says, I told him that since the case, open brackets, the limited exhibits or sample, close bracket, was brought to the FSL as opposed to the crime scene analyst bringing it, the case could be analyzed by anyone.
Yes.
So he didn't take issue with the fact that a sample could be analyzed. And two paragraphs earlier, or a paragraph earlier, 6.2, where you were now dealing with the total mass of exhibits and what needed to be weighed for the purposes of destruction.
Yes.
So as you and I discussed, those are separate processes because one is qualitative, the other one is quantitative. And as far as Kuzwayo is concerned, she says she understood the discussion to be about analysts going to the crime scene to do the sampling. So it was in that context that she understood it, and there may have been miscommunication because you say you were talking about samples being taken from Port Shepstone and being sent to FSL.
That is
so
correct.
That's really where the confusion is, and all three witnesses, I try to engage them on the issue just to try to understand what exactly they are saying.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you, Advocate.
Thank you for that clarification. You are clarified, Colonel. We actually had gone back to your paragraph 58 after you dealt with 59 and 60 already. I just wanted to clarify what exactly we're talking about in 58 compared to 59 and 60.
Yes, Commissioner.
So that would then lead us to your paragraph 61.
61.
Yes.
I must add that none of my actions at the crime scene or at Isipingo SAP amounted to criminal conduct. The non-availability of exhibit bags was the reason these exhibits were not sealed in bags as per National Instruction 8 of 2017. The non-acceptance of exhibits by the FSL was the reason that they were not forwarded to the FSL within 7 days. None of my actions were a deliberate attempt to ensure that the drugs were stored at Port Shepstone. During my interaction with the DPP's office, at no stage was contamination of the crime scene or the integrity of these exhibits ever cited as an issue.
Before you move on to paragraph 62, just clarify what is the purpose of referencing your interactions with the DPP insofar as the question of contamination of the crime scene is concerned? Because you don't speak about that beyond this point.
Yes. Okay. Thank you, Commissioners. I think the reason I added this bit in there was just to highlight that at the time that this seizure was done, Yes, in hindsight, I realize now there were a lot of things that could have been done better. But at that stage, faced with my challenges, I'm going to try and get into that a little later. I did what I did. However, when this docket reached the DPP's office, or this inquiry reached their office, generally they are the first ones when they peruse statements, look at the content of your docket or inquiry. If they're not satisfied with the level or the standard of work in terms of handling exhibits or chain of custody, integrity of the exhibits, all of the above, they would cite the same and basically indicate to management that this case is, we're not taking it on, we are not satisfied with A, B, and C. So I put in this paragraph to show that at that stage, in terms of prosecuting this matter, if it had to go to court, the DPP's office had no issue with regards to the investigation thus far. Thank you, Commissioner.
Then just as a last one, the point you make is that the DPP did not raise any concerns about the integrity and the contamination of the crime scene. That's the point.
Yeah, that's it, Commissioner.
You don't go so far as to say that the DPP confirmed the integrity of the crime scene. You're not taking it that far.
No, I'm not.
Okay, thank you. Then you may.
Sorry, before you move on, you, in that paragraph where you refer, in the second sentence,